Welcome back to part 2 of my third submission of 25 books to CGC. Part 1's already completed. If you haven't watched that one, go back and have a look. We'll cover the first 12 books. Again, this is not a retrospective like the previous ones have been. I've got the actual slabs here ready to go. Okay, so as usual, what we'll do is we'll go through the books one by one. I'll show them, give you any comments on them. I will tell you how much it cost me, and then we'll have a look at what CGC gave in terms of a grade, and we'll have an ongoing tally for the submissions, values, returns, and profit or loss. So let's kick it off. I don't do many modern books, as if you've watched my previous videos, you'll know. I've said before, but I do occasionally find covers that I like. So this is the Bermejo variant cover for Ultimate Wolverine #1. I would have liked to get the Virgin variant for it myself, but it was just priced ridiculously for what it is. I may pick one up in the future after the price falls. I wasn't going to spend stupid amounts of money on it. So I very happily picked one of these up from my LCS, cost me $8. I thought it looked pretty good. It was a cover I'm happy to have. I'm hoping it'll get a 9.8 and go into my PC. Wolverine's one of my favorite characters, along with, Spider-Man and the X-Men and the Punisher. So yeah, sent off to CGC of high hopes. It's a modern book. It gave it a quick press, 9.8. So off to a great start. Yeah, always happy to have this one in the PC. It's not going anywhere. It's just a cover I want to have in a high grade. So happy to have that one as a start. Moving on to Spawn 179. This is a relatively desirable cover. It's the first War Spawn, so a great comic to have. Bought this one and all the Spawn issues from a Facebook buyer as a lot. Cost me $35, and it was the first real modern book I've gone to clean and press. And on the back I thought I was just going to wipe some dirt off the back, but I then realized I was actually rubbing color off the top. It was in a tiny spot, but I was disappointed in that because I think it was the only real damage to the book. I cleaned and pressed it and then sent it to CGC. I thought it could somewhere come between a 9 to 9.6 depending on how that damage was viewed. They had a good look at it, so it came back with a 9.0, so definitely at the lower end of my expectations, even though the rub was tiny. And I looked at the grading notes and they say there's a crease on the right center of the front cover. I can't see one, but in some certain light there is a light little bendy thing along the edge. So I think it actually is a case of where I just have not pressed this book well enough. And in hindsight, I should probably have maybe cracked it and repressed it and gone again. I just had bad experience where they said crease and there has been a crease. So I decided just to sell as a 9, so someone's going to get a good bargain on this one. Still a small profit on it, but a bit of a disappointing result. So moving on, Spawn 201. It's a great cover. Starts getting into sort of the lower print runs, not necessarily 201, but getting there after issue 200. It was in nice condition. I paid $27 for it. It's just that it had a spot on the front cover. You can sort of see it here. And I had a look at some other 9.8s, and it does appear in some other 9.8s. So I was hopeful it might still make a 9.8. And I thought others had looked worse. So I submitted to CGC, hopeful of a 9.8, and they came back with a 9.6. So a little bit disappointing on the first two Spawns, and they quote spine stress lines. So I don't agree on that necessarily. Maybe I just need another press. It does have that dark black cover, which can be very hard to press. And to really get the imperfections out of black's hard. Apart from cardstock, black's hard. Otherwise a great book, and it got snapped up pretty quickly in that grade at a good price. Next up we have Spawn 203, another sort of low print run Spawn. It was a nice clean copy with some slight waves that I submitted along the top. I was curious to see if how they'd go with the grading of that. But yeah, otherwise a pretty clean copy. Cost me $13, nice and cheap. That's the way we like them. Yeah, submitted to CGC and they came back with 9.8. So happy to kick that one off there and get this first spawn 9.8. It's got, you know, it's got a little bit of value, so a bit of profit on that one. Yeah, and its new owner will love it. Moving on to another low print run issue 208 of Spawn. Again, sort of a dark cover, as they often are. It's a really nice cover, actually. I quite like this one. Anyway, so this the only notes on this are it's a good copy. It cost me $16. Expecting 9.8, but you know, I've said that before. Sent off to CGC, and they came back with 9.6. So another disappointing Spawn outcome on a low print run issue as well, and they've just quoted spine stress lines. So I don't think it really had them. Yeah, maybe one or two there, but geez, then I'd treat them as negligible. So maybe just need another press. Yeah, just need to be a bit more careful with some of these, I think, still. Spawn 209, the last of the Spawn submissions in this lot. And yeah, again, I thought it was a clean copy. It was a clean copy. And yeah, it cost me $21. I thought I had a great chance, 9.8, but hey, I may have mentioned this a few times already, this submission. Sent to CGC, and they agreed with me. So they gave me a 9.8. So a couple of wins and a couple of misses, but a great copy of Spawn to have at 9.8, and it's sold already. The new owner will love this one. Moving on to Venom Lethal Protector #1. So in the first submission, I mentioned that cardstock's frustrating. This is a copy of the foil elements of it, and also the thicker cardboard type cover that are really hard to work with. I also made a couple of mistakes where I think I ended up over moisturizing some of the areas that I was hoping to fix and made them worse. It's a newsstand copy, and I paid a lot for it thinking it was in great condition, and it was. I think I actually may have contributed to its damage more than anything. It was $80. It had a small color breaking tick or crease from a crunch, you know, and some color issues in part of the front cover, which I think I contributed to by just putting some water on and not treating it correctly. And yeah, there's a bit of a bend that didn't seem to break color. I was thinking it would come somewhere between a 9.2 to 9.6. So I was basically taking a hit on this, but it was an experiment just to see how it was graded. So CGC had a look at it, and they came back with 9.4. Yeah, so they've quoted, and I think there was a notable quote. Yeah, so this is a bend on the right bottom of the front cover. And that was an area where I thought was an issue. And you can, in some certain light, you can just see it, and just, it's not even a 1/4 inch wide. So, yeah, again, maybe a case of just not pressing it and just not really familiar with the cardstock, and it's cost me. So a great cover, and its new owner will love it. It's a great newsstand edition. It looks immaculate. Moving on to X-Men number 150, just adjusting the sticker on it. Got this from another different comic market. It was only $9, and it had what appeared to be stains on the front cover and back cover inside and out. But there's actually just color leach from some of the comic tags up the top. We've got a little purple or red, and they just leach over time. It seemed to be another 9/8, so I was confident. I tried some bled and some hop. No, I don't think I tried hop on. It's just bled to see how it would go, to see if I could reduce that color bleed from the inside. Having seen Robocop 1 in my last submission, if you've seen that, you'll know how frustrating having that misdiagnosed by CGC can be. I was hopeful of anyway. No, actually, I was just thinking of coming back from a 9 to a 9.8, depending how they saw that color bleed. Sent off to CGC, and they said 9.6. So on the higher range of my expectation. The greater notes on it are spine stress lines. I don't see any, I see no stress lines on that cover there whatsoever. And on the back, no, again, it's just, I don't see anything. So I'm not sure what they've seen. They maybe just thought it just wasn't worthy of a 9.8. It's a very nice copy of X-Men 150. Moving on, X-Men 269. I've had this one a couple of times. I don't think I've got any more copies of this one left. Picked this up from the same eBay seller as last time. It cost me $20. Thought it had a few tiny ticks and a small bit of rub on the back cover near the bottom staple. Tried hopping a bit of a stain near the Spider-Man logo as well. I couldn't really get much with that, so I tried a bit of hop and bled, and it seemed to help a bit. I thought it would come in the range of 9.6 to 9.8 just because of some of those negligible, small, minor issues. CGC had a look at it, and they said 9.6. So disappointed to get a 9.8, but 9.6 was definitely on the cards with this copy. An otherwise nice copy of X-Men. So yeah, great to have that. 9.6. Moving on to X-Men 274. So this is the first cover appearance of Rogue in the Savage Land costume, even though it doesn't say that in the description. Anyway, cost me $11 from that eBay seller. Had a small non-color breaking crease in the back mid, and I thought it could be a printer's crease. I couldn't do much to it, so I was curious to see how they'd grade that. Cleaned it, tidied it up, submitted it. CGC said 9.8. So yeah, I guess it was a printer's crease, and they understand that was a manufacturing defect. So it's good to have that little win. So a good outcome on a nice copy. Into the home stretch now with the last few. We've got X-Men 290 in a great Storm cover. They've got some notes here: death of Hero and Cyber Eye, and Forge leaves the X-Men, but really I don't think it's particularly key in any significant way. It's just a great Storm cover. So if Storm's one of the characters you like, I think you'd have this one. Cost me $11 from that eBay seller. Had a few negligible ticks. I thought it was a fairly clean copy after I removed all the finger bends and little bits and pieces. So I was hopeful of a 9.8, certainly what I was expecting. CGC had a look, 9.8. So a few great results there so far. So nice to have some of these X-Men books come back in a grade that I expected. All right, so second last book, iconic X-Men Wolverine cover, issue 251. Yeah, it's a great cover, and this book was in great condition. I did pay a little bit more for it. I paid $35 from a Facebook buyer. It had light ticks. The edges were soft, so that was I thought, yeah, you can see the edges are a little bit soft. Certainly there. Otherwise, really nice. And I thought it would max out at a 9.4 because of those corners and a couple of the ticks. Yeah, sent it off to CGC and came back 9.6. So pretty happy with that, and I was expecting 9.4. I do think it's a 9.4 just because of the corner. You can see it was a bit soft. But happy to have that in a 9.6, and someone will be very happy with that. Last one is Wolverine. Last one, Wolverine #3 Newsstand Edition. I paid a fair bit for this one. It was $42. I got it from Nucadia, an online raw comic seller. I don't know if they sell slabs. I thought I'd try them. I bought a couple of issues and really just testing out their notes and grading system to see if I could find things that would be pressable on decent copies. So yeah, it came back. It looked pretty good. I thought it had some small issues, but came out of the press really nicely. You can see it's a very nice, clean copy. Yeah, I was hopeful of a 9.8, but 9.6 was definitely on the cards. And sent to CGC, and they said 9.6. So I think that's a fair grade. It's a beautiful comic, but 9.8 was definitely a possibility. So what their notes were, spine stress lines. So we've had a few of those, and maybe it's just a case of just being a bit more careful. It's got that very dark back cover, which can be hard. I don't really see anything that I'd call a stress, maybe one. So yeah, it was a fair 9.6, and that was a great outcome. So the total submission will be on the screen. Let me just check my spreadsheet. So the cost all in for this submission was in the vicinity of $1,450, and I received back just over $2,000. So a profit overall. It was a smaller submission in terms of value, but I just, get all these books in, and you want to try and do things, work through them, and try and get recoup some of your money. The main disappointment was, as I mentioned at the end of the first part, the Spider-Man 311 newsstand. That was probably the higher potential value book in this series, and also the Venom Lethal Protector. Having I think I contributed to that book getting some damage. So lots of lessons in submission. Fourth submission is currently being graded by CGC. By the time this video is out, that one will well and truly be back, so hopefully I'll have that up and posted. I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed presenting them. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing. I'll see how this video comes back with the actual slabs in there, and hopefully it's all good. And yeah, I'll see you next time.